Right. We are here today. We have a nice special guest that I'm going to interview, a man named Joseph Anthony Camp, who is a journalist. And Joey, you're in points unknown right now. I think we'd safe to say you're in South America someplace. Why don't you tell us, the audience, a little bit about yourself? I know you're an interesting guy, but tell us, everybody, who you are and what you do. And we'll get into some of the stuff talking about you. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to first give a shout out to Danesh Noshirvan, something like that. I don't know how to say his last name. Um, my little stalker for the last 4 years. But what do I want to say?
Well, we're gonna talk a little bit about you, and so I'm gonna put some stuff start putting some stuff on the screen. We got some people coming on still, so we're gonna wait to get some people on. But first and foremost, you have a long history of doing some real high risk journalism. You got some people out there who do journalism and who do different things, and like Andy No is a perfect example. So you do some really cool stuff, and I'm going to add this picture on. This is back in 2020, and there was a lot of riots going on because of George Floyd and Kenosha. In Denver, there were riots, and you were a journalist, acting as a journalist in this stuff. This is stuff like Nick Chiappetta is dealing with over in Portland now, or it was a few months ago, and they just had the trial about that. But tell us about what happened and what you were doing back in 2020 as a journalist.
Yeah, let me tell you. So it started when just before the George Floyd stuff happened. I was working for the state of Colorado. I built their COVID database for their maintaining the records for COVID cases within the state of Colorado. I still get licensing and royalties from that. But I was working at a COVID center, and I was beefing with one of these progressive city council members or school board members, Tay Anderson. And I had a lot of political clout on the left at the time. And so I started realizing that these people were hypocrites. They were just lying, causing problems to benefit themselves. And then the George Floyd stuff happened, and I went to the riot in Denver with just my cell phone. And I was just curious, and kind of exhilarated, kind of fun. Um, and I got addicted to covering the experience of the riot, the tear gas, the pepper spray, the pepper bullets and bean bags and all of that, the violence and the fireworks and all of that. So I continued to do it a little bit, but I also put two and two together that a lot of the politicians were promoting these things for financial gain and not for the political intended purpose. And so it wasn't really about George Floyd or racism or whatever. It was about putting money in these people's pockets and making them more popular than they were already. But I started just covering these events. Everywhere there was a protest, everywhere there was a riot, I would just go in, and I got more and more involved in the telling the story, and not telling the story by the narrative, but by what was actually happening. So when Tay Anderson shoves a guy on the street, nobody mentioned what led up to it. They just said, "Oh, Tay Anderson got punched in the face," but what led up to it was he was provoking somebody and he was shoving them and got violent with somebody. And so I was covering all of that, and it really pissed them off because I wasn't holding back or restraining myself. So after Denver, I went to Portland, Seattle, LA, New York, Atlanta, even Florida, although there were no real protests or riots in Florida. Um, I ended up all over the US and just undercover, sometimes in full black bloc, pretending to be Antifa to get these images. I've witnessed the murder of Lee Keltner in Denver. I was the one that got the footage of all of that. In Portland, they used
Yeah, that's a picture right there. This is a picture you took of the Denver courthouse, right? You talked about,
yeah,
you were there during the unrest. This is actually the courthouse in Denver, Colorado, and this is what happened at the height of those 2020 George Floyd riots, the Antifa
oh, yeah,
riots. And
yeah. I mean, this is dangerous. Like, if they knew that that was me, they would have killed me.
yeah.
There's many times where I thought that I was going to get hurt. They actually, in some instances, they were so unaware that they would actually show me a picture of me, and tell me to look out for me to make sure that I don't experience that.
So
And
you were like the boogeyman. You were the Kaiser Sose for the for
yeah,
the Antifa people, and you were the guy that they were worried that would expose them for what they were doing.
and that's what I did. I created Your Daddy Joey. The original incantation of Your Daddy Joey was a website that pretty much identified every single rioter at every riot that I participated in covering. And I would just put their picture, their name, a little bit of information about them. And I was getting 1 million hits a week. It was pretty awesome. Like, they were doing like papers about it in universities. It was controversial to the extent that some people call it doxing. I didn't care. Um, and I probably had 15 or 20,000 of these rioters and protesters identified on the website.
Well, this is I'm going to put on the screen right now. This is
Yeah,
antifawatch.net. This is a site that's
yeah,
out there right now. And this
yeah.
is the same type of thing that's been happening since 2020. They've been documenting Antifa and the extremists on the left. This is the type of work that you were doing, correct?
The Antifa Watch website and social media actually was created with my data my after Your Daddy Joey. I also created with another individual Antifa Watch. I've since not had any participation in Antifa Watch, but I was part of the team that did create this. This is essentially what Your Daddy Joey was, um, and kind of created as a backup to Your Daddy Joey, but became the primary.
Okay. And so you created this type of site, and what happened was, the riots were going on, as we saw there, all the crazy stuff, and you began to get attacked by the left, by Antifa and by their allies, right?
Yeah,
And that's fair to say. And then it got really bad. It got to the point where there's death threats. Or the threats of violence, your personal safety, and you're not the only person. Andy No, who's the reporter,
mhm.
he's had to say that he was living in London for a while because of those issues. He might still even be there. But to your knowledge, is there a bounty on your head by Antifa?
Yeah. So the before I left the U.S., there were a lot of concern about the payment of money for something to happen to me. I left Denver and went to Miami, Florida. And in Miami, I thought I was safe. I thought everything was good. But I kept getting messages of hate, messages that people were going to hurt me, that sort of thing. And I was told by law enforcement in Florida that they had intelligence that my life was in danger.
Yeah. So who's this guy? That Danesh guy? He's already on the chat. He's asking about things. He just called you a pedo, actually, or he actually called both of us a pedo just now. Pedo podcast, and we'll get to that again. He's called both of us pedophiles, baselessly, and I'm actually suing him. And he's actually the one who's probably the pedophile, and we'll show some physical evidence from the court records that show it. But this is how I responded to him. He's a white bullet. He had a white bullet that it was like a white sex toy, and there's a video of him putting that white sex toy up his butt in an OnlyFans video. And this guy had an OnlyFans page, and this guy goes around. Now, tell me about this guy. I'm gonna put something up about him. This is the Gateway Pundit, which is one of the great American publications. It's actually President Trump's favorite publication. And this Antifa TikTok agitator urges armed leftist militias to fight ICE agents. So this is Danesh. Tell us who this Danesh guy is. Who is this Danesh guy?
So Danesh is he's like a low-level agitator. He doxes, and look, I have nothing against doxing people of the opposite ideology. I do it. I'm on the right. He does it. He's on the left.
And he it looks like he made another what's called a sock puppet or a fake account. He's trying to say stuff about you from this YouTube account. And then he's got a few others on there. This is actually pretty funny that we actually have evidence of some of his methodology already. But go ahead, talk about this guy. Tell us who he is.
Yeah, so he's a anchor baby, for lack of better words. He is politically far left. He's a basement dweller. I don't know how else to explain it. He doesn't get out into to real life really.
So he doesn't like President Trump. He doesn't like ICE. He doesn't like law and order. And there are ties he has to to some foreign sovereigns that are enemies of America. But I'm going to play some of this stuff. This is actually a video that he put out, and where he was inciting violence. In my mind, let's take a look.
We need to find solutions here. Every major city in the U.S., Los Angeles, Portland, Chicago, New York, you need to start setting up left-wing militias to protect your communities. I'm not kidding. This needs to be coordinated. And you guys should all be in touch too across cities. We need organized left-wing militias. There are too many right-wing extremist militias putting us all in danger. We need to defend ourselves. We need to have a group of people that stand there, a well-regulated militia that stands there when ICE shows up, because nobody is holding them accountable. The people need to hold them accountable for when they go too far, for when they're not welcome. In fact, let me be honest with you, they're never welcome. They're never welcome. When ICE shows up in your community, a militia should show up right in front of them and tell them to leave. It is your right as an American. Shortly after murdering Renee Good, ICE agents went to a local high school that was on lockdown and assaulted the students when they came out of class. This wouldn't have happened if a militia would have kicked them out of town. Defend yourselves against Trump's personal pedo racist army. Fight back against ICE. Just because they're federal agents does not mean they get to violate you. They killed all that was good. Let's show them what's left.
Hey, before we talk about that.
So that's what Danesh does. He makes like these videos that are loosely anchored in reality. And he basically, he's Antifa linked. And as somebody commented, aren't we all anti-fascist? I think we all are anti-fascist, because if people understand what fascism is, fascism in its Nazi form is what's called National Socialism. I think we're all against socialism, or anybody who's of the right mind is against socialism, because what socialism does is it takes God out of the equation. It takes, traditional Enlightenment values of, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness out of the equation. And what socialism does is it basically destroys society little by little. It takes away the individual, and it creates a statism. It creates a situation that it all goes back in one way or another to Karl Marx and to Marcuse and to the Frankfurt School and to the critical theorists. But yeah, we are all anti-fascists to that extent. But Danesh takes it to a different level because he's an activist that is not, someone who's looking to do political change. He's actually promoting a specific agenda. And I'm going to play some of the other videos here. Here's one of him dancing on Trump's grave. He did this. Is him.
From the top, make it drop. That's some wet. That's some wet. And I get a bucket and a mop. That's some wet. That's some wet. I'm talking wop, wop, wop. That's some wet. That's some wet. Macaroni in a pot. That's some wet. That's some wet. Huh.
Now I would totally respect his ability and his right to have free speech and say that and to do those things. And if he doesn't like Trump, he can say it all day long as much as he hates Trump. But he's crossed the line with what he's done in a lot of areas. And the biggest one, I think, is this video that I'm going to play where he doxed the Supreme Court justices, six justices of the United States Supreme Court. And he flashed their home addresses on the screen. And this is in relation to the Dobbs case that overturned Roe v. Wade and turned the question of abortion back to the states, really where it should have been entirely. And he actually put the justices at risk. But this isn't a fantasy. He put them at risk to the extent that a armed individual showed up at Justice Kavanaugh's home looking to murder Justice Kavanaugh and his children, his family. He showed up with burglary tools, weapons, rope, and he was stopped by the United States Marshals. But Danesh was part of the ramp up to this, the incitement. So I'm going to play this for everyone to see what Danesh does.
This is the first time the Supreme Court has ever granted a constitutional right, which it did so when Roe was decided in 1973, and then took it away.
Hello, Supreme Court justices. I usually only post names and jobs and general area, and I never really post any more details than that. But since the Supreme Court went back on their word, I'm going back on mine.
This is my happy song. I like to sing it all day long. I'll teach you the words, then you can sing along. Happy, happy, happy. Happy, 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 happy. Happy, 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 happy. Happy, 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 happy.
So he went along and he posted these addresses, and this, for someone who claims that there's violence out there, that ICE is perpetrating violence, he turns around and he continues with this violence and posts actual addresses. And the fact is, you have people who are at risk, and I want you to address that first, Joey, because you're one of the people, and we'll come back to this, but you're one of the people that is at risk. And here, and tell us what you faced because of some of the actions that Danesh, and you could talk about some of his conspirators too. I know there's another man named Mr. James Mcgibney, Mr. Mcgibney out of Texas, that's also worked to promote things and to harm you. Tell us about what this type of activity does to you.
Yeah. So first off, the dog pile, right? So one person makes some allegation that isn't true, or they dox you, and they connect you to some false accusation. That sticks with you, even though it may not be true. And then what you see is, in the future, if you have like a conflict or a conversation, somebody wants to pull up some random no-name Danesh on the internet and cite that source without any credibility, right? So ultimately what happens is down the road, more serious things evolve, right? So in my instance, I was doing all of this journalism at the protests and the riots. These individuals were upset that I was telling the truth. Uh, then along came the 2020 elections, Eric Coomer, and all of that stuff, which I had nothing to do with. But all of that previous stuff and the conspiracy theory from people like Danesh or Antifa, somehow I get dragged in and to even more, right? So now I'm like some no name anonymous email account that was supposedly emailing insider information from Dominion. So somehow I got dragged into voting conspiracy by idiots with no intelligence that were just spewing off of the lips, but that had a little bit of an audience. And so then I get even more hate because I'm supposedly far right, I'm a racist, all of this nonsense. And eventually I had to leave the US for my own personal safety because this individual, Danesh, started promoting so much lies, right? So many false accusations that people started showing up where I was at a coffee shop and stuff like that. They were like threatening me. This one's for Danesh. I'm going to kill you because Danesh posted this video about you. Stuff like that. So Danesh literally, with his friend James Mcgibney, hacked my email accounts, hacked my social media, used my social security number, broke into my bank account, and tried to steal my money.
If you see what's on the screen, I wanted to show the audience how crazy and false the statements that Danesh makes and others made are that you're a racist. There's actually pictures from the court documents of you with your girlfriend, and she's not white. So there are others. I'll put some of them up as you talk. Keep going.
Danesh is he's a moral terrorist, right? He uses his platform to try to hurt other people with false accusations, right? In some countries in this world, that's a criminal offense, to hurt the moral standing and character of somebody with those defamations. For example, I know for a fact that he would never meet me in Belize because he's too much of a coward, and all of his statements against anybody would be enough to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Currently, I have a lawsuit against him, which is about 2 days from default. I'm not going to say much more than that, but he's going to be 2 days from default in the lawsuit, which means that I will start putting liens and collections from him for his defamation. He's lucky that I'm sticking with the civil and that I haven't gone to criminal yet, but there may be a time in the future, if he keeps it up, that I will pursue criminal charges against him. This is my wife and I in Belize. Those pictures are from a court case in Florida.
Yeah.
Danesh was he's being sued for like $30 million or something. He claims on his social media that he's suing somebody. But
well, I'm going to show actually a document from that case. I have a very important document from that case about Danesh that I think everybody needs to see. And let's see if we can put this up here. Let's see. Let's see. Well, you keep going, keep talking as I find some of this stuff.
So yeah, absolutely. So after he posted about somebody in Florida who I don't even know, what happened was in maybe it was like January of 2022 or 2021, I'm not really sure the date, but I had to go to a medical appointment for some situations that I had, a medical situation. I'm sorry, my little puppy's going crazy.
Great. Show your puppy. Everybody loves puppies. Show your puppy. Introduce your puppy.
You want to be on? Let's go. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, I love you. This is Princessa.
Aww. She's a cutie.
Yeah, she's my baby. Oh, careful, don't fall. Whoa, what you doing? Okay, so I went to a medical appointment, and as I was researching the clinics that around the area, there was one that was being targeted with a lot of hate, but they seemed to be a really good clinic, right? So I got the referral. I went to them because they were the best in the area. I had the procedures done, and later I reached out to them to say, hey, look, you have all of this negative stuff about you, but it doesn't make any sense. Before this, I didn't know who Danesh was. I was like, none of this stuff makes sense because this is not who you are as people that I've seen. I mean, I just had my medical appointment, and they were like, no, we're being, swamped with negative reviews and stuff falsely. So I was like, well, let me help you clean that up. And so I volunteered for a little bit to help them remove some of the negative stuff, and it worked. And so for like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at the most, I spent recovering. They were very nice, and they let me stay for a little bit at their property so I could recover from the medical procedure. Well, little did I know, one of their disgruntled former employees stole my medical records and gave my medical records to Danesh.
Well, wait a second. That's a big violation? I'm in Florida, and I know that's at least a HIPAA violation, but it's also sounds like a violation of the Florida Constitution and the protections that we have in Florida of the healthcare disclosure. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So actually, we were going to file the HIPAA lawsuit against this individual who stole my medical records. We were going to file it in the beginning of March, but there was a delay on my end. I had to travel. I was in Rio de Janeiro at the time, and I couldn't get a notary public because there were no notary publics available at the embassy. So I had to travel.
I think it's a big thing with Brazil with the apostilles and all that, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one. So I had to travel outside of Brazil to get the notary public documents and stuff like that. And so I believe.
So wait, back up a second. You're doing a lawsuit, and so there's an employee of I guess it was the plastic surgeon, right? And the plastic surgery practice itself actually isn't even owned by the plastic surgeon. It's owned by a private equity firm, right? It's not even owned by the plastic surgeon. So I'm asking, are you going to sue that individual who was the former employee? I think you would still have a claim also potentially against that private equity firm, the owner of the plastic surgeon or the surgery center. And I think you might have a claim, and correct me if I'm wrong, not only against Danesh, but even better claim against his lawyer, a guy named Nick Chiappetta, who probably knew full well in using the documents that they were HIPAA protected, right? I think he knew or should have known.
So my lawyer flew to meet me the other day. We have the complaint. We have all of the paperwork ready. So we're not. We're suing for declaratory relief that the employee did indeed steal and did indeed violate HIPAA, right? We don't want money from the clinic or anything like that. I don't know who they are. I spoke to them. They did my procedure. I spoke to them. I did like 4 weeks at the most worth of work, and then all of a sudden this lawsuit comes, and somehow I get dragged into it, but I'm not named because they're too much of a coward and are really poor doxers and can't find me. But there's gonna be a significant amount of damages from.
That's the lawyer, right? Do you recognize this guy?
Yeah, so that's Nick Chiappetta. He's getting sued for HIPAA violations, conspiracy, and soliciting protected data. Danesh is getting sued, and the former employee is being sued for punitive damages. And that lawsuit's going to happen in October now. And
okay,
well, just the clinic had no way of knowing, right? They didn't know that the employee stole my medical records. And my understanding from what I've seen online and public record is that that they took the steps to mitigate it as appropriately. So I hold Danesh and Nicholas Chiappetta as personally responsible because they paid for my records and they solicited the records in violation.
How do you like that picture? I heard that he looks really good in pinstripes. You know, what do you think? You think that's a good look for him?
I think it would be like, he's a crackhead, right? Like when he was young.
He
used to do that little crackhead thing. He's got.
No, he was arrested and he has a conviction in the state of Illinois for possession of drug paraphernalia. This is actually public record that he is. And actually, I think I have something on that. I can show everybody about this if they want to see.
I think the Florida bar needs to be made aware because I don't think he would have passed the character exam if not for that.
Let's see. Yeah, here we go. This is something that everybody should like.
No.
I kept telling Whitney to cut out the loose shit. It's a waste unless you cook it. I tell Marta the same thing. Damn, you love your paraphernalia. Let's get out of here before I get sanctions.
Oh yeah, he has been saying something. It's so funny because we've been thinking that, right? But I don't know anything about they care about it.
Yeah, that's Nicholas Chiappetta. And I wanted to get back before we got off the topic, and I want to really get back to it, but before we move on to something else. But it's this thing right here, and this is part of that Gateway Pundit article. It's about these pictures. This is a picture from Danesh Noshirvan, and he had an OnlyFans page, and this is part of a filed court document, and it's obviously redacted with the private areas. But the big issue here is not that the guy's engaged in the creation of pornography, because there are a lot of people that are engaged in the creation of pornography, especially the OnlyFans era. And actually, the owner of OnlyFans just died. It was a guy in his 40s. And a lot of information came about how big it really was, how many people are producing on there. But the big issue about this really isn't that Danesh was doing it. It's who else was doing it with Danesh. Because if you're a producer of pornography under the laws of the United States, 18 U.S.C. 2257 and 18 U.S.C. 2257A, the Congress has said, look, if you're going to be a producer, you have to have model releases. You have to keep records of who the models are and the people that are performing in your videos, and that still applies to OnlyFans pages. And why they do that is for two important reasons. The adult industry, the adult film industry, is a large place for trafficking of women. So even women who are above of legal age they end up being trafficked in this industry. They leave Kansas, they go out to Los Angeles, and they don't make it as an actress, and they end up in pornography, and they end up being trafficked. They're doing things against their will. And so they put this into the law to be able to say, oh, I see my daughter in this pornography video. Where is she? I want to find her because she ran away from Kansas at 18, and I haven't seen her, and we want to know that she's well. But there's also another issue, not just the trafficking and exploitation of women, but the trafficking and exploitation of children.
Exactly.
And to ensure that pornography, while it's legal, child pornography is not in any way, shape, or form. And so Danesh did not maintain the required 18 USC section 2257 release forms for these videos. So can you tell us about that, Joey?
Yeah, so first off, let me tell you the story of the OnlyFans. So OnlyFans has a major flaw for all sanctioned investigators and people looking for information, right? If you know somebody who has an OnlyFans account, you don't immediately just get to look at their page, right? It's not like Facebook, it's not like it's free. So you have to subscribe in most instances. In which case you got to pay like $25 or $30 or whatever. But the flaw is you can subscribe, capture all of the content, which now becomes yours, right? You paid for the content. There may be some copyright violations, but it's yours now, right? So what I do when I am investigating or looking into or researching a person that might have an OnlyFans account is I have 3 or 4 people that have worked with me, and we split the cost for the subscription. So if it's $30, right, we each pay 10. That gives us each a portion of the ownership of the account. So we go in, we capture everything to make sure that we save it in case something happens to the site or something. We want to keep our investment, right? So we screen record, we preserve everything. Then we let the person know, hey, we subscribe to your account. If the person is like Danesh, right? So we subscribe to his OnlyFans account. We paid $30. And then I said, hey, Danesh, we subscribe to your account. Just wanted to let you know. And he canceled the membership, right? Immediately. But when you do that within 24 hours of the subscription, it refunds the money. So you get the content and you get your money back. In some instances, but that's what happened here, right? So this is commercial pornography. We paid for it. We did the research and found out that he wasn't keeping records, which is a violation of the law. And Joe Francis of Girls Gone Wild was the first to be charged with this and convicted. Danesh may be next.
And it's not something that is little. It's actually some really serious issues. It's right here. It's whoever violates this section shall be imprisoned up to 5 years, and then it goes up to 10 years. Right. Yeah. So you have potential 5 or 10 years of imprisonment, and this is what you call in the law a paperwork crime. Okay, this is not a crime that is something that you have to really, be, Matlock or Columbo to try to get to the bottom of. This is something that is a paperwork crime. Did you file or do you have records? Do you have these records or not? He admitted in a deposition that he doesn't have these records.
Right. He wants to paint it as the content was stolen, right? But and that we hacked his account or some shit like that. It's nonsense. But yes, these girls don't. Anybody who looks at this image or the unredacted version can reasonably ask the question, how old are these women? Right? That's a reasonable question to ask, right?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they look young. They look like they could be 15 or 16 or 17 or 18 years old. So because Danesh is now a public figure and always has been, it is reasonable to proclaim and to make the inference that Danesh is a pedophile. he's got a young girl on commercial pornography whose records he hasn't kept to show otherwise, which is a felony. You would think that avoid the felony and just show the records. But and OnlyFans, Pornhub, every commercial porn site that is user account available makes those terms part of their sign up, right? You have to get this affidavit signed. You have to have a picture of the actor or actress with the identification on every single post.
Yeah.
He knew it.
So wait, Joey, hold on 1 second. I have somebody saying that posting this picture itself from a filed court document is a crime. Do you believe that we're committing a crime right now, showing something with a federal court stamp? Do we have to go and arrest Judge John Steele of the United States District Court in Fort Myers, or we have to arrest the Middle District of Florida clerk? Because I think Danesh Noshirvan has argued that John Steele, the judge, should be arrested, and that the clerk of court in Fort Myers, federal court, should be arrested for child pornography because this is contained within the filed court documents. Are we committing crimes? And is the federal judge committing a crime? Is Danesh right that John Steele is committing a federal crime?
So yeah, so this is interesting, right? So in this image, it is redacted, and Danesh is not been arrested. And it is on the federal court public record. This is where I've seen it. This is where you see it. To say otherwise, I could go and post a picture of myself and say I'm 16 years old and post it to Telegram or whatever. So I don't think this is just the
it's more like a form of gaslighting by Danesh. Danesh likes to do his counter narratives. It sounds like a form of gaslighting to me, right? Does that sound like that to you?
Yeah, so the account that posted that is Danesh. Like I was just looking at the YouTube account. It's literally just created just a few days ago. It's just Danesh's troll account.
It sounds like someone whose favorite line is they will be arrested and in jail by the end of the week. I love how that's true. That's if you've ever had the misery of watching Danesh for any extended periods, and I have only because I'm suing the shit out of him. He does say that a lot. He claims that people are going to be arrested. He claims that people are doing things, but this is a pattern of behavior. We're talking about this not keeping the records. Now it's a question of one of these two girls. So in the deposition that we know about, one of the girls admittedly was his wife. His wife is named Hannah Butcher Noshirvan, and I think she's a teacher, right? Is she a teacher?
Yeah, so she's a teacher in Southern Tioga, in Pennsylvania.
So she's a teacher somewhere in Pennsylvania, and she also does child pornography, or not child pornography, but she does actual pornography. And I think this is her as well. Is this her in blackface?
Yeah, and that's her in the picture with the unknown potential minor that Danesh is raping.
Well, listen, we didn't get back to that. We'll go back to that. Hold on. So we'll go back to this picture. And so we know that this is Hannah Butcher Noshirvan is one of these girls. We don't know who the other girl is.
I think the other girl is one of Hannah's students at Southern Tioga.
Yeah. So it could be, but the question is we don't know. The person is underage, but what we have is, and I don't know if you know about this, but we have a pattern of behavior by Danesh Noshirvan as to talking to underage girls.
Yeah, so
right.
From my understanding, there's a girl named Emily in Florida. Danesh was soliciting nude images and sextorting her for a significant amount of money. And that's part of the litigation that's going on down there. I think she's planning to be to go to court and testify against him, but I think he thinks she's.
I'm going to show everybody an article that I wrote. That's basically all about this. This is an article that I wrote about Dinesh's underage nude pics. And this is the girl, this is the Ellie Botios, and she's of age now. She's over 18 now. I think she's in her 20s almost. But she was underage when Danesh was contacting her. And just to put this in context for everybody, this is how Danesh feels about children. We're going to let everybody hear about how Danesh feels about children.
Oh, yeah.
And their teeth. What's with their fucking teeth? Their teeth look like shit. It's like Shark Week on Discovery Channel with every kid. Can you imagine that around your dick? That would be annoying as shit.
What the hell is that noise?
And their teeth. What's wrong with children's teeth? That's my phone.
Your phone's vibrating. Do you have to take that?
No, I'm in the middle of an interview. Do you want to say hi to the people?
Who is it?
Oh, no, I don't want to be on this. Don't do this to me.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right, I love you, sweetie. Have fun in your interview. Don't say anything embarrassing. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Keep that.
That's definitely in.
Yeah, keep it. She's got a new phone and I haven't put the contact list in. I hate children. And their teeth. What's with their fucking teeth? Their teeth look like shit. It's like Shark Week on Discovery Channel with every kid. Can you imagine that around your dick? Fuck no.
I was gonna ask you when are you and Hannah gonna have kids?
Fuck that. We have dogs. We have dogs. That's good enough. And they'll die soon. That's a thing. They'll just fucking die.
Die before you. That's true.
Of course, they'll die before me. I'll make sure of that. But besides that, they're not going to be around forever. Like yeah, and they're not even annoying either. They stop barking, and even the sound of
Except
barking.
when they have diarrhea, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. My dog has diarrhea at the moment, and it's pretty obnoxious to clean, but it's so much better than a kid because the thing is, my dog knows where to diarrhea, whereas a kid does not. I don't have to change no diapers. All I do is call Hannah and say, Hannah, there's a surprise for you when you get home. Then I find something to do outside the house for 30 minutes.
So this is how this guy feels about children, and this woman is actually a someone who's a teacher, an educator. Now, you want to see how this man really feels about children? We'll play this video. This video tells.
I'm going to be right back. Go ahead and play the video.
So that video is important because that was something that Danesh had put onto his TikTok, and he was basically advocating for child gender surgeries, gender transitions. And so he's talking about potentially dissolving his small child Casper's penis. And that's how sad this is. He has a child, he has two children. The one that he's put into the public space and used as a prop in his social media, that poor child's name's Casper, and I think the Tioga County, Pennsylvania Child Services should really take a look to see about Casper's well-being. But Danesh is talking about dissolving the child's penis as a woke virtue signal. That's what this man does. He's using his child as a woke prop. It's pretty disgusting. What do you think about that, Joey?
Yeah, so Danesh, before he started using politics and doxing to get his attention, he literally was trying to use his kids and manipulate his kids to get the attention. So he was trying to call his son a tranny, and that his son was a girl, but a boy, but also like. He's just the dude has such a pattern of pedophilic behavior that it's reasonable to just call him a pedophile at this point.
Well, the ironic part about it is that we have this next piece, and he talks about me and you, right? And he talks about us as pedophiles. And this is part of what I'm suing him for. Okay, he says has a breaking lawyer of child stalker says black people are indistinguishable from monsters, shares illegal revenge porn in court. Now, I don't know how much time we have here, but I could spend days going through the words that I just read and tell you how false they all are. But the lawyer we're talking about, the lawyer's name is Julian A. Jackson Fannin. He is a lawyer at the law firm of Duane Morris LLP. It's a national law firm. He's a top civil rights and litigation attorney, and he's black. And he's part of one of the oldest black bar associations in the country. And to say that this man is a racist is not only beyond the pale, it's a fabrication and a lie clearly on its face. They call him a demented pervert, allegedly, who hates his own people for a price. Then they called him a misogynist. Okay. But then he gets to the next part about sharing information because he will share it with pedophiles, Joey Camp and Richard Luthmann, to harass her with. So now I'm going to ask you, Joey, because I'll say it for the record right now. I am not a pedophile. I have never engaged in any pedophilic or child endangerment behavior, any child sexual behavior. I've never been accused of it. Nobody's ever said I'm a devout Roman Catholic. So this is something that is very offensive to me. Is this, will you state for the record now, Joey, that you are not a pedophile?
Not only will I state that I'm not a pedophile, I've never been accused, never been investigated, never been anything related to any sexual offenses whatsoever. In fact, I even provided my local, state, federal, international background reports to the courts and to the Danesh, who continues, despite the proof, to defame me and make these accusations. Unlike Danesh, I'm not a public figure with a history of this kind of conduct.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm not, and I think he's committing civil violations, which he's going to be defaulting soon, and he's committing criminal offenses.
Here's a site right here. It's called bullyville.news. And if you ever want to see what's going on with this is a good site to go to because it talks all about Danesh Noshirvan. It talks all about a guy named Mr. James Mcgibney. And it also talks about Nicholas the Chiappetta. And it looks at all of these people and all the people they're related to. It has got a lot of pictures in here of the court documents. One of my favorite pictures is the one right here, and we could probably get into this one. Do you know what this picture is, Joey?
Which one are we talking about? Let's see. Yeah, so I figured this out. This is from Danesh's lawyer. Danesh's lawyer started creating fake accounts, and maybe this YouTube account that keeps trolling, maybe that is Danesh's lawyer. He makes fake emails and social media accounts of opposing counsel and opposing parties, and then tries to trick people to believe that they received messages or conduct from opposing parties. And he got busted here because he didn't know how to take a screenshot. Took a screenshot of the open tabs on his page and used that in a court filing, showing that he is committing identity theft and fraud.
I just blew it up for everybody to see. So this is part of a court filing, and it shows page 12 of the motion is an image of Mr. Chiappetta's computer screen showing him impersonating Traynor, who's a Patrick Traynor, is another attorney's email address and domain. So this attorney's domain is PTESQ, PatrickTraynorEsquire.com. And so this Chiappetta guy makes a PTESQ1 at yahoo.com in order to send and receive correspondence. Now, I don't know about you, Joey, but I always thought that the lawyers had to be honest.
This is a pattern for Nick Chiappetta. He's going to soon realize that there are other parties that he's done this to have been made aware of this particular case and will be joining soon to let the court know that this is not the first time that he's done this. He does it to opposing parties, and he'll claim that the he'll make a post under a fictitious email account, say that it's me, and then sue me for defamation because of the post he made pretending to be me, stealing my identity. This is a common thing for Nick. This is not the first time he's done it. He's done it in other cases as well. I do know that I've been questioned by federal authorities in the U.S. about Nick, but I can't go into too much detail about that at the moment.
So I have a definition. Can you read that definition that I have up on the screen from the Merriam-Webster dictionary?
One who, let's see.
What's the word there? What's the word that's being defined?
Predator, noun, one who injures or exploits others for personal gain or profit.
And now it's been said by certain people that Danesh Noshirvan and those who aid and abet him are predators. Do you think that Danesh Noshirvan, in your opinion, fits this definition?
Of course I do. Danesh is definitely a predator. Definitely, we can reasonably infer that he is a child predator based on his pattern of posting and pattern of podcasts and stuff like that. Nick is definitely a predator. Nick has done this in many of his cases.
Okay.
And so Nick has been engaging in this for quite a while, even before Danesh. This is how Nick Ambulance chases. He gets these scumbags like Danesh, participates in the criminal and predatory conduct, and tries to blame opposing party. There's another case that he represents a woman who is almost identical. She's engaging in the same kind of predatory conduct as Danesh, and no other lawyer was going to represent her. And so Nick comes in, and now he's engaged in the same predatory conduct as she is. It's a repeated conduct. It's a repeated pattern for these scumbags.
So I'm putting up the portion we're talking about, and this is why we came to this page, about Danesh solicits nudes from underage teen Emily Ellie Boito. So the understanding is that there are internet chats where Danesh Noshirvan is soliciting pictures and information and everything else from Emily Ellie Boitios, knowing that this girl is underage, knowing that she is not of legal age. And this is what she looks like. She's actually all over the internet, and she has all sorts of pictures of herself. And this is her now, but this is before too. She had pictures, and Danesh was trying to solicit nude pictures of this girl. Is that your understanding?
Yeah. So when she was 17, she was trying to get Danesh to dox somebody, and in exchange, she and Danesh came to some kind of a disagreement about money, and Danesh decided that he was going to demand nude photographs of her in exchange for doing so. She was only 17 at the time. I don't know how old she is now, but clearly a disgusting woman here. But back then she was a child, right? She was a victim, and Danesh took advantage of that and tried to get nudes from her at 17.
So Danesh was trying to get nudes. It's your understanding that he was trying to get nudes from this woman when she was 17 years old, just a couple of years ago. That's what he was doing. Well, there's also another individual that's related to this, named Mr. James Mcgibney. And I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about some of what he's been in a related way talked about. So I'll pull that up. But you tell us about Mr. Mcgibney right now. Who is Mr.
Okay, so James Mcgibney is a revenge pornographer. Back in the day, he used to own the second largest revenge porn website on the internet at the time. And then he decided that he didn't want competition as second largest, so he decided he was going to harass and try to shut down his competitor, which is Anybody Up from Hunter Moore. So he creates this fictitious persona called Bullyville, where he would pretend like he's helping victims of bullying, but really he just steals copyright content and articles from magazines about bullying and pretends that it's him. And you can find the copyright complaints of many of the articles that he stole. So he used this Bullyville site to attack and go after his competitor in the revenge porn industry, Hunter Moore. Well, it worked, right? There's a psychological thing there. Anti-bully campaign tries to shut down.
Well, before we get into that, doesn't he go around and claim that he's a doctor?
Well, that's recent. He has some kind of mail order doctorate or something. Just
He
like
said he went to Harvard.
Yeah, so all of his certificate, he said he's a priest, a chaplain, a mail order doctorate, a Harvard graduate, a military medal of honor or some shit like that. The dude is a mail ordered fraud. Harvard mail order, doctorate, mail order,
Yeah,
military.
He claimed that he received the Navy Achievement Medal for outstanding computer security support of 128 embassies throughout the world. That's what he claimed in his executive profile. But if we look and we saw his discharge papers we have on the screen, it says he was an administrative clerk. He basically was the guy who got coffee for the sergeants and for the generals and for everybody else. He was a nobody.
And his only award was because he did rescheduling during a rainy day.
Okay. And so he has all this different stuff. And there's you. He's been attacking you for years. What's the deal with you and Joey Camp? Tell me about you and Joey Camp and James Mcgibney. What is the deal?
So James Mcgibney went after Hunter Moore, and then after he shut down Hunter Moore, he decided he was going to go after other competitors in the revenge porn industry. Well, somehow, you know, he becomes too arrogant, right? He just gets this big ego because now he's the number one revenge pornographer in the world. Well, a friend of mine was posted on his website, on his revenge porn site, and I asked him to remove the posting, and he didn't do it, right? He wanted me to pay $600 for it to be removed. I said no, and so I started beefing with the guy online, then researching him, found out everything about the guy, learned that he's just a scumbag, that he's using his anti-bully persona to try to get rid of competitors in the revenge porn industry, that he's just a child predator himself who hosted all of those child porn images on his own site and then bought all of the content from Hunter Moore, which had a lot of child porn stuff.
So Joey, I'm showing real quick on the screen what one of his cons, because he tried to con you into paying money to take something down. One of the things that people tell us he was doing was vaginal recognition software. He wanted women to send pictures of their vaginas, and then he would search the internet for other pictures of their vaginas. Do you understand the craziness of how this man is? Do you ever think he would send pictures of your vagina, and then we will search the internet for more pictures of your vagina? I'm going to say that. I'll say that a third time. Yeah. Send us pictures of your vagina, and we will search the internet for more pictures of your vagina. And people fell for it. That's the sick part about this.
Exactly, and you know that's him. He's a predator. He's a child predator. He's an adult predator. He's a revenge pornographer, and he hides it behind his so-called anti-bullying persona.
Yeah. Unsuspecting women sent James Mcgibney the most intimate pictures under the guise of help. And if that's not scary, that's scary. That's a very scary situation. And there he is with his he plays up his Marine angle and everything else. And he went on Dr. Phil, and he claims that he's a doctor like Dr. Phil or Dr. Drew, but he's not really a doctor. He's a very fake person. and it really, really crazy stuff. Here's his army thing that he put, or the Marines, the security. He went to security guard school.
Yeah, like he's a mail order fraud, bro. Like his wife is a mail order bride. His kids are fucking retarded. He's a fucking idiot. Every degree, every certificate, every award or accommodation he has is mail order, online purchased.
Oh, and I do want to say this real quick because Danesh is rabidly anti-Israel and anti-Jewish, and it looks like Mcgibney is too. You know, so I think they, in my opinion, they hate Jews. I think that Danesh has already said that in some of his videos and some of his streams that he hates Israel, and he's a disgusting person. But these two, you're right, they're digital terrorists. Do you agree that they're digital terrorists?
I would agree that they're digital terrorists.
Okay. So then I wanted to also go back to what we were talking about before. And I have here, let's see, let's go back to this tab. This is Courtney Kotzian, the Omaha Oracle. And she's another journalist, and she's actually from Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm going to ask you about a case that you've been following next from Nebraska, where Danesh is being sued in Nebraska. He's also being sued in like the Tampa, Sarasota area. He's being sued in Fort Myers. He's being sued all over the country. This guy for what he's done in crossing the line. But I'm going to play a part of this because Courtney was at the hearing that Danesh had where I'm suing him, and I'm representing myself, and I was the one who asked the questions. And she is someone who she's not aligned with me. She's not aligned with you. She's an independent media personality, and she doesn't agree with a lot of what I say. She's a lot more, liberal than I am. It's not too hard to be a lot more liberal than I am, but the fact is, she calls it as she sees. I'm going to play a little bit of a clip from her about what she saw when she saw Danesh actually take the stand. So take a listen up to this one.
I am assuming that this is directed at me. It was just recently posted after the hearing. I took a lot of notes. And actually I had planned on kind of giving a play-by-play and, the things that I thought were funny and that kind of stuff after that hearing. But I'm going to be honest. I am kind of disturbed by it. It didn't go well for Danesh. This whole thing, and these people, and they're paying the price for it. Nobody's paying the price for it. He's paying the price for his own actions at this point. I will say a couple of things. One, the whole point of me going there is because I wanted to see him try to explain himself he just forgot to put it on his calendar kind of thing. I've been doing this because he did this to me. I had a court case, very similar hearing that he went today. I had one of those, and it was one of the worst days of my life. And he was on lives laughing and joking and just, getting real excited about that with others. And it was really bad and it really sucked. And so I kind of felt like, the whole turnabout's fair play thing. Now, though, after watching him on the stand for hours, he was on the stand for hours. He was there the whole time, showed up on time this time, was there the whole time. And I'm not going to say this lightly, and I'm not even saying this as this is somebody I dislike, and this is somebody I dislike. This is somebody who has harmed me and a lot of other people. And there's literally no excuse for the behavior that he partakes in. However, I really like the judge in this case. He was like a kind Mr. Rogers type of judge. He was so fair and handled things really well, because both sides of this case, not just Danesh, but both sides of this case can be ridiculous and are constantly just going for shock value, whether it makes sense, whether it's professional, whether it is just how it is. I'm not rooting for, Richard Luthmann here, but Richard Luthmann's making a fair point. Danesh makes up lies on his social media pages. But when Richard Luthmann started questioning Danesh, he started the whole thing out by asking a couple of just baseline questions to make sure that the person that he's talking to is competent. And the first one was his name, and Danesh couldn't answer that. The second one was the date, today's date. He got that wrong. The third was who's the president. He got that one right. 2 out of the 3 general competency questions that were asked, he couldn't answer. He also couldn't answer pretty much any of the other questions. In the end, the judge had to ask the question over and over and over again, like, why did you miss the hearing? Why did you miss the hearing? Like, what was it that made you miss this hearing? There's a lot of issues around that. There's a lot of conversations around it. And I've got to find exactly what he said, because I wrote it word for word, because it gave me chills. It like, there was something about this that really disturbed me. Why did you miss this? There's a bunch of questions here talking about where the emails go. Danesh, I failed to add it to the calendar. Luthmann had to rewrite his claim, so I thought maybe actually it wasn't in the back of my mind. And then the judge pressed a little bit further, and he said, I thought he, as in Luthmann, I thought he was someone I wouldn't have to be worried about anymore. Danesh genuinely believed that Luthmann was going to be arrested or put up on criminal charges. This came up over and over and over again. But then he also said that he thought he was somebody he wouldn't have to worry about anymore. He thought the only way that that would have been possible would be as if, something happened like that to Luthmann. Even if Luthmann was arrested, he still would have had to have shown up in court. So either Danesh has zero competency with how the law works. And he did actually say that. Danesh said that he doesn't know how the law works. He doesn't know how anything works, even though he's constantly talking about other people's court cases and stuff and their criminal records and stuff. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He said under oath he doesn't know. Or he was expecting this person to just disappear off the face of the planet, which is also a little disturbing. I feel like he's unwell. I feel like he is not well, or lacks the capacity to understand what it is that he's embroiled in here. Like he doesn't understand the consequences to his actions at all. To a extreme degree. I'm worried about anybody in this man's inner circle or periphery, honestly, at all.
So, Joey, I brought this clip up because it's an important clip. It shows that Danesh is not only he's a little bit, no more than a little bit dishonest about what he says, but he's even more than he's dishonest. I think that he might be unhinged, right? And so what he does is part of a pattern of behavior that Courtney Coetzee of the Omaha Oracle recognized. He tries to get people arrested on bogus charges. He tries to make people disappear. Can you speak to that? Is this something that you have seen him do? Is this something that you've seen Danesh try to bring up bogus charges on people and make them disappear, to use potential connections with law enforcement? I know Mcgibney has touted those connections. Tell us all about that. I think you're on mute, Joey.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
When I was in Belize, he did that. He created a situation where he harassed the police so much that they had no idea what was going on. So they actually arrested me based on his harassment of the police. And he does it a lot. That's how he gets people up. That's what he does. He posts to 1 million people, says, call the police department, call Child Protective Services, call their job, get them arrested, get their child taken away, get their jobs fired. That's his MO. That's what he does. That's what he'll continue to do. And he's done it to me, but to some degree, it's been less effective against me than it is against others who have been attacked. He's gotten people fired, gotten people arrested, because the police just feel like they need a knee-jerk react. And there's good law enforcement that will actually investigate, and you see them from time to time. But you don't see it often enough because they just they cater to this nonsense. They like he does, like he creates, he perpetuates a dogpile onto police, employers, family, and causes real life danger. And he's done that to me. He did that to me in Belize. Thankfully, I was able to navigate that situation. But yeah, that's his.
But he does this. He does this to everybody. It doesn't matter if they're a public figure. He did this to the Supreme Court of the United States. He does it to Trump and people. Everybody does it to Trump. You know, Trump's a big boy. He's probably the strongest person in the world. And the Supreme Court has the U.S. Marshals protecting them. But he also does this to people who are vulnerable, regular persons, civilians, people who live very private lives, and he destroys them. He destroys them down to to the point where they can't even go out of the house. They lose their job. They lose their social circles. It's disgusting. I'm going to play right here, because it's not like we don't ask Danesh to explain himself. And we asked him to explain himself about the child pornography allegations. And this was at the courthouse in Fort Myers. And we asked him when he left the courthouse to explain himself. And here's Dinesh's explanation.
Danesh, how long have you and your wife been swingers? Danesh, how come you admitted on the stand that you don't have 2257 releases for the underage woman that was in the video with you and your wife? How come, Danesh? Danesh, now's your chance to tell everybody. Danesh, where's your 2257 release for OnlyFans for your commercial pornography? How come you never filed that, Danesh? You have anything to say, Danesh? What do you have to say for yourself?
I don't like being around pedophiles. We get out there.
Dinesh, are you the pedophile because you didn't file the 2257 release for your OnlyFans page? Dinesh, are you a pedophile for not filing a 2257 release for your OnlyFans page to ensure that the talent was not underage, along with your wife? Do you and your wife have sex with underage women on camera for commercial pornography? Are you aiding and abetting this, Nick Chiappetta from Lake Worth, Florida? Are you aiding and abetting this, Nick Chiappetta from Lake Worth, Florida? Are you aiding and abetting child pornography? Are you aiding and abetting the creation of child pornography under 2257? Did you even go to law school, Mr. Chiappetta? What Cracker Jack box did you get it from? What Cracker Jack box did you get it from, Mr. Chiappetta? 2257 was put in to protect children. How come you're helping your client hurt children by not filing 2255 to 2257 releases under Title 18 of the U.S. Code? How come, Mr. Chiappetta? How long do you expect to keep your law license behaving like this, Mr. Chiappetta? How long, Mr. Chiappetta?
Yeah, so that's Chiappetta, and that's Danesh. They don't have any good answers to the questions that we're asking here. They don't have any of the good questions to what we've been asking. And this is again Eli Batios, and this is all the stuff that we've been talking about. This is a bad dude. This guy is a bad dude, and part of the reason why I brought this all up is because of this guy right here. Do you know who this man is?
That's Aaron De La Torre. He was a man who was falsely accused by Danesh of offenses related to children assault or something. He ended up ultimately committing suicide in Texas due to the grief and the harassment and the sustained campaign against him. Unfortunately, Richard, something just came up. I have to run.
All right. We're already about an hour 20 in, so we're gonna reconvene on another day. But this is the first in a series. I do want to have you talk about some of your journalism related to Danesh. There's a Nebraska case that we can talk about. There's also other cases in Florida that we can talk about. And the next time we'll start with the Aaron De La Torre case when we go live and talk about this, okay?
Yeah, no, sorry about that. My attorney actually was just been messaging me. Some good news is happening. Like I said earlier in the day, there was a default that's coming, and I'm just running over. I have to go sign these documents.
And we'll leave. I'll leave everybody with this. We'll talk about this next time as well. This is a naturalization form, and there's going to be a lot. You're talking about naturalization. But there's also people that may have to be denaturalized as enemies of America. that still owe allegiance to other places. So as we leave, this is something that we're going to be probably talking about the next time as well. So thank you everybody for coming on, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some more stuff. Myself and Mr. Joey Camp, who's another journalist, and we'll probably bring other journalists on that are covering this story, which is a really egregious story. I know Bearded was watching, Bearded Fisherman from the Northeast, and I know that he didn't realize how egregious this case was with Danesh Noshirvan. And I've been living this story for a couple of years now, covering this guy. I'm a victim of his, and I had to sue him. And I think that this is the next step. We're going to start telling everybody, and showing everybody. I don't want to tell people. I want to show them what a bad guy this is and how he needs to be stopped. And so that's what we're going to have to do. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming on, and we're going to do some more videos about Danesh and some more lives, and thanks for coming.